Welcome to my channel Exposed-SecretsTales. Your one click means everything to me. Please don't forget to subscribe. Thank you. I'm Michael, the man who thought he had built the perfect marriage until the night I told my wife to leave. 15 years. That's how long we had been together. 15 years of laughter, quiet dinners, arguments that always ended in apologies, and dreams we thought were unshakable. But as I looked at her across the living room that night, my heart was no longer certain. Her suitcase was leaning in the corner, half-packed. She hadn't noticed that I had already seen it. My wife Claire was humming softly while folding clothes on the couch, her hands moving with a calmness that didn't belong to someone preparing for an innocent trip. Something inside me had been unraveling for months. I had caught fragments of phone calls she quickly ended when I entered the room. I had noticed messages on her screen, names I didn't recognize, words she dismissed as work-related. I had asked questions, but her answers never matched the unease that clawed at me. That night, the silence between us was louder than any fight we'd ever had. I stood there watching her, my throat tight. The words came out before I could stop them. "It's time. Pack your things and go." She froze. The shirt in her hand slipped to the floor. Her eyes widened, as though she had heard the words but could not believe they belonged to me. "What? What did you just say?" she whispered. I repeated myself firmer this time. "Claire, I can't live like this anymore. I know something is wrong. I know you've been hiding something from me." Her lips trembled, but she said nothing. Instead, she sat down slowly, her face pale. The room felt colder. My chest ached, but I forced myself not to look away. "Michael, please," she finally whispered. "Don't do this tonight. Not like this." "Then tell me the truth," I demanded. "Because if you don't, tonight will be the last night we share this house." Her eyes filled with tears, and she reached for me, but I stepped back. That hurt her more than the words. I could see it in the way her shoulders collapsed, as if my rejection pierced deeper than any accusation. For a moment, the only sound was the old clock ticking on the wall. Each second felt like a hammer falling, sealing something between us forever. And then she said it, the words that changed everything. "I never wanted you to find out this way." "But there's someone else." My chest burned, as though her confession had torn a hole straight through me. I couldn't breathe. My vision blurred, but I refused to let her see me crumble. "Who is he?" I asked, my voice shaking. She didn't answer. She just looked at me, her silence sharper than a blade, and that silence told me the truth was worse than I ever imagined. I turned away, but before I could take another step, Claire whispered one more sentence that froze me in place. "It's not who you think. It's someone you know." Her words rattled in my chest like broken glass. I turned back toward her slowly, my fists clenched at my sides. "What do you mean? Someone I know?" My voice came out rough, like I was speaking through sand. Claire pressed her hands together, trembling. "Michael, please. If I tell you, it will destroy everything." "Everything is already destroyed," I snapped. "The only thing left is the truth." Her tears spilled then, rolling down her cheeks as she shook her head. She wouldn't say the name, not yet, but her silence screamed louder than anything. I began pacing the room, trying to breathe, trying not to explode. Images raced through my mind. My colleagues at work, my closest friends, even family. Who was she talking about? Who had slipped into my life like a shadow and stolen what was mine? Was it Mark? I demanded suddenly, naming my business partner. "Is that why you always acted strange when he came over?" "Is it him?" "No," she said quickly, her voice breaking. "Not Mark." "Then who?" I roared. "Claire, you owe me that much." Her hands covered her face. "If I tell you, Michael, you'll never forgive me." I leaned forward, my voice dropping to a whisper, heavy with pain. "I already don't forgive you. Just say it." She lowered her hands slowly, her eyes meeting mine with such sorrow it almost made me falter. "Almost. It's Daniel," she whispered. The name punched the air out of my lungs. My brother. My own brother. For a moment, I thought I had misheard. I stared at her, waiting for her to take it back, to laugh bitterly and tell me it was all a mistake. But her eyes stayed locked on mine, shimmering with tears. No, I shook my head violently. No, that's impossible. Daniel, my brother Daniel? She nodded once. So small, so broken. But it was enough. The room tilted around me. My brother, the boy I grew up with, the man I trusted more than anyone else. He had betrayed me, and Claire had let him. My knees almost buckled, but I gripped the edge of the table to stay upright. How long? I managed to choke out. Claire closed her eyes, her lips trembling. Almost a year. 12 months of lies. Birthdays, holidays, family dinners, every smile between us now tainted. Every moment we shared as a family suddenly turned to poison in my memory. I stumbled back, staring at her as if she were a stranger. You brought him into my home. You sat across the table from me, both of you, pretending, laughing. How could you do this? She tried to reach for me again, but I pushed her hand away. Michael, please. It wasn't supposed to happen. I swear I didn't plan it. It was a mistake. But then it wasn't. Her words sliced me open. My brother, my wife, my vision blurred with rage. I grabbed my coat from the chair and stormed out the front door before I did something I would regret. The night air was freezing, but it couldn't cool the fire inside me. I walked down the dark street, my chest heaving. Questions tore at me. Why Daniel? Why would he risk everything? And how many times had they met behind my back? I didn't even realize where I was going until I saw it. The small house at the end of the block. Daniel's house. His lights were on. His car was in the driveway, and as I stood there, frozen on the sidewalk, the curtain in his window shifted. Someone was watching me. The curtain twitched again, and I caught the outline of a figure standing inside Daniel's house. My stomach twisted. Was it him? Was it Claire? The thought alone nearly broke me in two. I forced myself up the path, every step echoing in my head like a drumbeat. My hand hovered over the door, trembling with rage. Then I pounded hard enough to shake the frame. The door opened slowly, and there he was. Daniel, my brother, his face pale as if he had been expecting me all along. Michael. His voice cracked. You shouldn't be here. Don't you dare tell me where I should be, I growled. You're going to look me in the eye and tell me the truth. Daniel swallowed, his jaw tightening. For a moment he tried to act calm, but I could see the guilt written across his face. It was a mistake, he said quickly. It shouldn't have happened. I stepped closer, so close that our foreheads almost touched. A mistake? For a year? With my wife. Do you even understand what you've done to me? To us? He flinched but didn't step back. I didn't mean to hurt you. I never wanted— Don't you dare! I cut him off, my voice shaking. Don't you dare say you never wanted this. You had every chance to stop, and you didn't. He dropped his gaze, his silence confirming what I already knew. Why, Daniel? I whispered, my voice heavy with betrayal. You're my brother. You're supposed to be the one person I can trust. His eyes lifted then, and the answer he gave shattered what little remained of my heart. Because, Michael. I loved her first. The words hit me like a blow to the chest. My breath caught, and I staggered back a step. Loved her first? What was he saying? I don't believe you, I spat. You're lying. But Daniel shook his head slowly, his eyes glistening. Before you and Claire ever met, she and we knew each other. I thought she was the one, but life pulled us apart, and when you introduced her to me years later, it nearly killed me. I kept quiet. I buried it, but it never went away. My heart thudded painfully. Memories flooded back. The first time I brought Claire home, the strange tension in Daniel's eyes, the way he avoided her gaze at first. Things I had dismissed suddenly made cruel sense. You should have told me, I said, my voice breaking. You should have told me then. And what good would that have done? He snapped, his own anger rising. You were in love. She chose you. I tried to stay away, but she came to me, Michael. She found me when you were too busy with work, when you stopped listening to her. Don't act like this is only my fault. His words burned through me. I wanted to deny them, to call him a liar, but deep down a part of me knew there was truth in them. I had buried myself in long hours, thinking I was providing for us, never seeing how lonely Claire had become. Still, nothing could excuse this. Nothing could justify betraying me. My fists clenched, the urge to hit him shaking through my arms, but I held back. Violence would not fix what was already broken. Instead, I whispered through gritted teeth, "You've destroyed this family. Both of you!" Daniel's face twisted with pain, but before he could answer, a voice came from behind me. "Michael, stop! Please!" I spun around. Claire was standing at the edge of the driveway, her coat thrown over her shoulders, her face pale in the streetlight. She had followed me here. And in that moment, caught between my wife and my brother, I realized my next decision would change all of our lives forever. Claire's eyes darted between us, panic shimmering in her gaze. "Please, Michael," she begged, stepping closer. "Don't make this worse than it already is." Worse? I turned on her, my voice shaking with fury. "You've been lying to me for a year with him, and you're telling me not to make it worse?" Daniel reached out as if to shield her, but I shoved his hand away. The sight of the two of them standing together under the glow of his porch light twisted my insides. They didn't even realize how much their closeness betrayed me, how it screamed of a bond I could no longer deny. I looked at Claire. Why him? Of all the people in the world, why my brother? Tears slid down her cheeks. "I didn't plan this, Michael. I swear I didn't. I tried to fight it, but I was lonely. You were gone all the time, buried in work. And Daniel, he listened. He saw me. He reminded me of the girl I used to be." Her words cut deep, because they were too sharp to be lies. I had left her alone more often than I wanted to admit. But betrayal was betrayal. I shook my head. "You had choices. You could have come to me. You could have told me you were drowning. Instead, you reached for him," she sobbed, covering her face. Daniel stepped forward, his jaw tight. "If you want to blame someone, blame me," he said firmly. I should have stayed away. I should have walked out the moment she came to me, but I didn't. And for that, I'll carry the guilt. The calmness in his tone enraged me even more than Claire's tears. "You think guilt is enough?" I hissed. "You think saying sorry can erase what you've done?" Daniel lowered his gaze, silent. For the first time in my life, I saw him not as my brother, but as a stranger, a man who had stolen the one thing I never thought I'd lose. The street was quiet, the kind of silence that suffocates. My heart pounded in my ears. I couldn't stand there any longer, caught in their web of shame and excuses. "I'm done," I said, my voice breaking. "Claire, you can stay here tonight. You've already chosen your side." Her face crumpled and she reached for me, but I stepped back. "Michael, please, don't walk away like this. Let me explain." "There's nothing left to explain," I whispered. I turned and walked down the street, each step heavier than the last. I didn't look back. I couldn't. When I reached home, the house felt colder than ever before. Every room carried her scent, every corner her memory. The walls themselves seemed to whisper her betrayal. I dropped onto the couch, staring into the darkness, my mind replaying their words over and over. "I loved her first." He listened. She came to me. Somewhere deep inside, a part of me still wanted to believe there was more to the story, that what I had heard wasn't the full truth. But another part of me whispered that this was just the beginning, and darker secrets were still hidden. I closed my eyes, exhausted, trying to silence the storm in my chest. That was when I heard it, my phone buzzing on the table beside me. I picked it up, expecting messages from Claire, apologies I didn't want to read. But the screen froze me in place. It wasn't Claire. It was a message from an unknown number, and it said only 5 chilling words. "You don't know everything yet." I stared at the message, my pulse hammering. My thumb hovered over the screen as if the words might burn me. Who would send this? And what else could there possibly be that I didn't already know? I typed back quickly, "Who is this?" No response. I waited, my heart racing, eyes fixed on the screen. A minute passed. Then another. Just when I thought it had been some cruel prank, another message appeared. "Meet me tomorrow, 11 o'clock, the cafe near the old train station. Come alone if you want the truth." The phone slipped from my hand onto the couch. The cafe by the old station. I hadn't been there in years. Why there? And why me alone? I barely slept that night. Every creak of the house felt like betrayal breathing down my neck. Claire didn't come home and I didn't call her. I couldn't. I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, the stranger's words replaying again and again. You don't know everything yet. By morning, I felt like a ghost, but I went. I had to. The cafe was almost empty, the scent of old coffee beans and dust hanging in the air. I slid into a booth, my eyes scanning every face. My palms were damp, my chest tight. And then she walked in. Not Claire. Not anyone I expected. It was Emily, Claire's closest friend. She spotted me immediately, her expression tense, as if she had rehearsed this moment 100 times. She slid into the booth across from me without ordering a drink. "You got my messages," she said softly. My jaw tightened. "That was you?" She nodded. "I didn't know how else to reach you. You deserve the truth, Michael." I leaned forward. "What truth?" "I already know about Claire and Daniel." Her eyes darkened. "Yes, but that's not the whole story." I froze. The weight of her words pressed against my chest. "What do you mean?" Emily glanced around nervously before lowering her voice. "Claire wasn't only with Daniel. There's someone else." The blood drained from my face. My stomach churned. "You're lying!" She shook her head firmly. "I wish I were. But I've seen the messages. I've heard her make excuses. Michael, Daniel may have been the biggest mistake, but he isn't the only one." I sat back hard against the booth, my hands trembling. "Who?" I demanded. "Tell me who it is." Emily hesitated, her lips pressing into a thin line. For a moment, I thought she wouldn't say it. Then, with a whisper that seemed to shatter the air between us, she answered, "It's someone even closer to you than Daniel." My breath caught. "Closer? That's not possible." "He's my brother." Her eyes locked on mine, heavy with sorrow. "Michael, it's your father!" The word slammed into me like a freight train. My father. The man who had raised me, the man I had admired all my life. My heart thundered in my ears as the room seemed to spin around me. "No," I whispered. "No, that can't be true." Emily reached across the table, her hand trembling as it touched mine. "I wouldn't tell you this if I wasn't certain. Claire confessed it to me months ago, when the guilt was too heavy for her. She swore me to secrecy, but I can't watch you drown in half-truths anymore. You deserve to know." I jerked my hand away, my stomach twisting violently. My wife, my brother, and now my father. It was too much. Too impossible. I stood abruptly, the chair screeching across the floor. Heads turned in the cafe, but I didn't care. I stumbled toward the door, desperate for air, desperate to breathe. Outside, the sunlight felt harsh against my skin. My mind spun in chaos, replaying Emily's words, refusing to settle. And then my phone buzzed again. Another message, from the same unknown number. This time it said, "Ask her about the child." The words on the screen blurred as my vision swam. A child? My hands shook so badly I almost dropped the phone. I stood frozen on the sidewalk outside the cafe, unable to move, unable to breathe. Whose child? Claire's mine? Or someone else's? I forced myself to walk, though my legs felt like they belonged to someone else. Each step carried me back toward the house I no longer recognized as home. I needed answers, and this time, Claire wasn't going to escape my questions. When I opened the door, she was there, sitting on the couch, her face pale, her eyes red as if she hadn't stopped crying. She stood when she saw me, her lips parting. "Michael," I held up the phone, my voice sharp. "Don't say a word. Just tell me what this means." She glanced at the screen, and in that instant I saw it, the flicker of fear in her eyes. She knew exactly what I was talking about. Her knees buckled and she sank back onto the couch. "Michael, please." "Not like this, not like this." My voice cracked. "Then tell me the truth, all of it. No more half answers, no more lies. Who is the child?" Her hands trembled in her lap. "I didn't want you to find out this way," she whispered. "Find out what?" I demanded, stepping closer. She lifted her tear-streaked face to mine, her voice breaking. "Because the child is yours." "But not in the way you think." The room tilted around me. "What do you mean?" Her words came slowly, painfully, each one carving into me. "Before we were married, I was already pregnant, but I never told you. I was afraid. I thought you wouldn't want me if you knew." And when the baby was born, you believed she was ours. I staggered back, my heart slamming against my ribs. Our daughter! Are you saying she's not mine? Claire sobbed, covering her face. She's not Daniel's. She's not my mistake with anyone else. But she's not yours either, Michael. Her father is... She couldn't finish. Her voice dissolved into tears. I gripped the back of a chair to keep myself upright. Say it, I whispered. I need to hear it. Her shoulders shook violently. Finally, through her tears, the truth spilled out. Her father is your father. The words crashed over me like a tidal wave. I stumbled, nearly falling. My chest seized and I struggled to breathe. No, I whispered. No, that's impossible. Claire, that's... But the look in her eyes told me it was true. I collapsed into the chair, my mind shattering into pieces. My daughter, my sweet, innocent daughter, was not mine at all. She was my father's. Claire reached for me, but I pulled away, my skin crawling. How long have you carried this lie? Since the beginning, she whispered. I thought it would never come out. I tried to bury it. I wanted to love you, to give you the life we both dreamed of. But when Daniel came back into my life, all the guilt I had buried came flooding back. I couldn't hold it in anymore. I pressed my hands to my face, the walls closing in. My father, my wife, my brother. The three people I trusted most had stolen everything from me. I rose slowly, staring down at Claire, my voice hollow. You've destroyed me. She shook her head, tears streaming. No, Michael. There's more you don't understand. I kept something from you. Something about your father. I froze. My heart stilled in my chest. What do you mean? Claire's lips trembled. Her eyes locked onto mine with a terror I had never seen before. Michael, your father isn't who you think he is. Her words cut through the silence like a blade. My breath stalled, my mind refusing to grasp what she had just said. I leaned forward, my voice low and unsteady. Explain, now! Claire's hands twisted in her lap, her knuckles white. The man you call your father, he isn't your biological father. Your mother. She had an affair years ago. He knew. He raised you as his own anyway, but you were never his by blood. The room tilted, my world collapsing piece by piece. No, I whispered. You're lying. That's not possible. Claire shook her head, tears spilling. It's true. Your father told me himself, Michael. That night, years ago, when I made the mistake with him. He said you weren't his by blood, and that's why what happened between us wasn't the same kind of betrayal you think it is. My stomach twisted violently. My throat burned. So he excused it? He justified it because he wasn't my father by blood? She sobbed harder. I didn't want to believe him, but I've seen the letters. He kept them hidden in his study. Your mother's letters, I staggered back, my head spinning. My whole life had been a lie. Every family dinner, every word of praise, every look of pride from the man I thought was my father. And now? Now the pieces locked together in a cruel puzzle. If he wasn't my father, then what did that make my daughter? My daughter was born from a man who wasn't truly my father. The shame, the horror, the weight of it crushed me. I could barely stand. My hands shook as I clutched the edge of the table. Why didn't you tell me sooner? Claire's voice broke. Because I loved you. Because I wanted to keep you safe from this truth. I thought I could carry the burden alone. But it followed me everywhere. And when Daniel came closer, when I saw in him the same blood you carry, it tore me apart. I wasn't strong enough, Michael. I stared at her, barely recognizing the woman in front of me. My wife, my betrayer, my confessor. The air in the room felt suffocating, my vision narrowing. I needed to hear it from the source. I have to talk to him, I said suddenly, my voice cold. Claire's head jerked up. No, Michael, please. You can't. If you confront him, it will destroy you even more. He's not the man you think he is. That's exactly why I have to, I snapped. I need the truth. From him? Before she could stop me, I grabbed my keys and stormed out. The drive to my father's house blurred past me, my hands gripping the wheel so tightly they ached. My chest was a furnace of rage and fear. When I arrived, the lights were still on. His old truck sat in the driveway, the same truck he had driven for years. My heart thundered as I walked up the steps and pounded on the door. Moments later, he opened it, his face calm, almost too calm, as if he had been expecting me. Michael, he said softly, I wondered how long it would take before you came here. My throat closed. So it's true, I rasped. He sighed, stepping back. Come inside. We need to talk. Every instinct screamed at me not to enter, but I did. The air inside smelled of old books and dust, the shelves lined with memories of a childhood that now felt counterfeit. He gestured for me to sit, but I remained standing, my fists clenched. Tell me the truth, all of it. No more lies. He lowered himself into his chair, his eyes heavy with something I couldn't read. Very well. But understand this, Michael. Once you hear what I have to say, you will never see your life the same way again. I swallowed hard, my heart slamming. Then start talking. He leaned forward, his voice low and steady. The truth is, I'm not only not your father, I'm not who you think I am at all. My real name isn't Richard. The words fell heavy, filling the room with a silence I could barely endure. I stared at the man I had called father all my life, my chest tight, my breath shallow. Then who are you? I demanded, my voice raw. He folded his hands, his eyes steady. My name is Samuel Clark, and I am not the man your mother introduced me to be. I stepped into her life after your real father disappeared. She needed someone to raise you, someone to protect you. I became that man, my head spun. So all these years, you lied to me? I didn't lie, he said quietly. I loved you as my own. I gave you my name, my roof, my life. But blood is complicated. Your mother never wanted you to know the truth. She believed it would break you. I staggered back. And yet you broke me anyway. By being with Claire. By hiding everything. His jaw tightened. Yes, that was my sin. I won't excuse it. I was weak. I let loneliness twist me into something I never thought I'd become. But don't think for a moment that I didn't love you, Michael. That part was never false. I shook my head, fury and sorrow crashing inside me. Love, you don't betray someone you love. You don't take his wife, his life, and leave him in ruins. His eyes glistened, but he didn't look away. I knew this day would come, and I knew when it did I would lose you. But before you walk out that door forever, there's something else you need to hear. I clenched my fists. What now? What else could possibly be left? He drew a breath that seemed to scrape his soul. The child. Your daughter. She may not be mine after all. The floor dropped beneath me. What are you saying? She could belong to your real father, he said, his voice trembling for the first time. Your mother. She carried secrets to her grave. I only know fragments, but the timing? It's possible. My heart pounded. My daughter, already torn from me, was now tangled in another layer of uncertainty. I pressed my hands to my face, my voice breaking. So what is she to me then? Who is she to me? He stood slowly, placing a hand on my shoulder. I flinched at his touch, but he didn't pull away. She is yours, Michael. Maybe not by blood, maybe not in the way you believed, but she is the child you raised, the one who calls you father. That is what matters most. Tears burned in my eyes. For the first time in days, the rage gave way to something else, something hollow and aching. He was right. No matter the lies, no matter the betrayals, my daughter was mine, in the only way that counted. I stepped back, my voice low. I can't forgive you. Not now, maybe not ever. But I will not let your sins or Claire's destroy who I am to her. He nodded slowly, his shoulders heavy. That's all I hoped for. I turned and walked out, the night air biting against my skin. My life was shattered, my trust demolished, but one truth remained. I still had my daughter. She was innocent in all this chaos, and I would fight to protect her no matter whose blood ran through her veins. As I walked into the darkness, I knew the road ahead would be long and painful. But I also knew this. The lies that once bound me had been stripped away. And though my heart was broken, I was free at last to rebuild my life, on my own terms, with my own truth. The end.